thank you for having us today. It's an honor really for us as your fan, but also a avid remote viewing. We love this subject. We've been following this subject for several years now.
I think it's the most interesting thing. That and UFOs.
So to our Korean fans or Korean audience, can you briefly introduce yourself?
I'm Dick Allgire. I am from Hawaii. I used to be a television newscaster. Along the course of my television newscasting career, I learned about remote viewing. I heard about it on the radio and thought, if that's true, I've got to learn that. So I started studying it on the side while I was on TV being a newscaster. I kind of kept that a little bit hidden, and then was able to retire from news, and now I can do remote viewing full time. So I've been doing it for 27 years. I trained with a master remote viewer named Glenn Wheaton. He gave me free personalized instruction for many years. So, yeah.
For those audience that doesn't know the concept of remote viewing, could you maybe explain the concept or definition of what remote viewing is?
Remote viewing is the ability to get sensory data to see, feel, smell, taste, know about things that are distant in space and time. Our definition is that remote viewing is a natural communication skill. And what you do is you set up a series of things that you do, protocols that allow you to establish a communication pathway between the alert mind and the subconscious so that you can, on demand, have these moments of non-local awareness, like what's on the other side of that mountain that you've never seen before and you don't know. Can you project your consciousness and communicate with your subconscious to see and feel what's there?
So you yourself as a remote viewing practitioner, you've been practicing remote viewing for almost over 2 decades, right? And how is it possible? What do you think is the principles that are behind this mechanism that is working?
Nobody really knows for sure, and I think if they try to tell you that they do know for sure, they're lying to you. The way I explain it is like this. Consciousness is a dimension. So we're in this universe that is consciousness. And everything communicates. Everything is giving off electromagnetic frequencies about itself. And we're human beings in this body that we have our 5 physical senses, that we see the world around us. Like we have parabolic antennas for ears, and stereoscopic vision, and we can smell, and we can taste, and we can touch.
Yeah, right.
Okay, our brain is a filter that filters out the greater consciousness field. Our subconscious is in a field where all information is available. And so what you do in remote viewing is you establish a way to listen to that. Everybody, you've had it, everybody watching us today has had a moment where they knew something that they shouldn't know, where they had a premonition like, wow, what if somebody runs the red light in front of me, I would get in an accident. And you go 2 blocks and somebody goes through the light. Wow, I just thought about that. We've all had moments of that where a mother thinks about her child and then the child is in trouble. So all of us have had this moment, and psychics are naturally wired to do it spontaneously. Remote viewers learn to do it in a structured way, like sit down and ask a question about the target, and in that split second get information. So I'm getting long-winded, but yeah, it's a natural thing. It's a natural, we have a subconscious that's in this greater field, and we just have to learn to listen to it. And remote viewing teaches you. It was developed by the U.S. military, so it's very highly, like they don't call it third eye or cosmic awareness. They give it military kind of terms.
I see.
Yeah.
So it seems like consciousness is a big aspect to remote viewing.
Absolutely.
In that sense, can anybody learn remote viewing? And if anybody can, what is the most important criteria or things that one should have to practice remote viewing?
I compare it to learning a musical instrument. Like, I have a guitar over here. I could give you the guitar, and I could teach you in right away to plunk 2 strings, ding, 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 and already you're playing guitar. I mean, ding, ding, you're playing guitar. But to do it well requires dedication, persistence. Now, anybody can learn how to play a song if they do it over and over and over again. Some people have a greater ability and aptitude. Some people can play guitar like Eric Clapton. You know, I can learn an Eric Clapton song, but I'll never play as good as him. But if I practice every day. So, yes, anybody can learn it. What it requires to be good is dedication and practice. What happens is, when you sit down and address a target, like you give somebody a target ID, their conscious mind is thinking, well, I think he's going to give me Latte Tower because, you know, we're in Korea and that would be. But in the back of your mind, the little voice is saying, somebody's running through flowers. You know, so what you do is you do the target, and your mind is thinking one thing, but when you do the method, like do it the way you're supposed to do it, some little bit comes in, and then you get the feedback and you go, oh, what I was thinking the target wasn't it. But that little voice that I discounted, that's what it was. So you get the feedback and you do that over and over again. You learn how to listen to that little voice. So it's a skill that is honed by working a target, and then you see what the target is, and you go, oh, I know what I was thinking that was wrong, and I know what I was thinking that was right. And then you do it again, get another target, and slowly you get better and better and better.
So in terms of you practicing remote viewing, do you often meditate to maybe calm your mind before you do remote viewing sessions?
Yeah, it's, I didn't used to meditate when I started, and then Courtney Brown taught me how to meditate.
Oh, I see.
And I now meditate before I work a target. What I do, my workflow is I set up a desk. The desk is very clean. I put the paper and the pen, and that's all. I set it up a certain way. And then I sometimes do that a day before. Like if I'm going to work a target tonight I set up the desk. And then I'm thinking about it. I'm not thinking about working the target. I just know I've got to do something. I know I'm going to expend that energy. And then I'll sit down, and my mind is very busy because I have subscribers that are paying me to see I have a performance. I have to perform.
Right.
And so I want to do a good job, and what are they going to give me? So often what I do is before I work the target, I'll sit and meditate for like 10, 15 minutes. And when I get to the point where I go, I need to remote view, then I pick up the pen and I do it. So calming your mind, getting your mind quiet, yes, is very important.
I see. Remote viewing, I'm sure it sounds quite difficult to practice, but I guess some people have the natural aptitude for it, right? Some people are really better at remote viewing than others. I also think that there could be multiple ways of remote viewing in terms of methodologies. And I'm aware that you actually lead the Hawaiian Remote Viewing Guild, right? And you said there is a remote viewing practice is called CRV, Controlled Remote Viewing, or Coordinate Remote Viewing, that is practiced by the military.
Yeah.
So your remote viewing practice that you do in your guild, how is it different from the military's CRV technique?
There was one unit called the Stargate unit at Fort Meade that some of the famous military remote viewers came from. My teacher was in a secret unit at U.S. Army Special Forces Intelligence Green Berets. And I'll tell you the story of how he got started. He was working for the Army Security Agency in Germany, at a base, listening to Morse code. He was a Morse code operator. He was listening to Morse code from Russia to Vladivostok one night during Oktoberfest. He was drinking beer during the day, and he went to work all night. He was tired and been drinking. And they said, listen to this Morse code. Don't, copy it all. So he's copying Morse code. And the Morse code operator in Vladivostok wasn't very good and didn't copy them, said, send again, I didn't get it. And Glenn had already copied it. And he was in this booth at night, kind of like, listening to the Morse code. And he started to fall asleep. And in that moment, before he fell asleep, while he was listening to the Morse code, he saw the Russian. He had like a dream where he saw the Russian doing the thing. And his supervisor came and kicked him and said, wake up, because you can't fall asleep in the military. And he said, sir, I saw the Russian. And he went, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I said, what do you mean? I said, I saw the Russian. And they said, okay, you're relieved of duty, give badge, get out of here. And they sent him for psychological review. But they were looking for people because they knew Morse code operators. Morse code puts you into that almost asleep theta brainwaves consciousness state, like meditating.
Interesting.
And they would spontaneously remote view. And so then he was trained, and they did a parallel program.
So it was part of a process to find candidates for moving
So
program.
he became a candidate.
Interesting.
But what they developed and what they did, and I think what your question is, how is it different? CRV, they don't, and I trained in CRV, SRV, many different styles that are based on that. It's more about getting concepts and words and ideas. They don't close their eyes and try to see the target. My teacher, the Hawaii Remote Viewers Guild method, is the first thing you do is close your eyes and try to see the target for 1 second. See a shape, see a smudge, see something. So when I remote view, my goal is to actually close my eyes and see a movie play.
Oh, I see.
I'm sometimes successful and sometimes not. Sometimes it's a smudgy outline and an idea of something like I know, like, oh, that's a vague form of a person. So I know it's a person, and I know they smell like cigarette smoke, and I know they're talking in a loud voice. Other times I can see it as a little black and white movie, like from a surveillance camera, a jerky movie that lasts about 5 seconds. And I've had moments where it's like, as real as me with you, it's wow, like full on, like.
In that instant second.
Well, so it'll last, for me, I have my eyes closed, I'm laying back, I'm doing a mental exercise like this, and a little movie will start, and then it will kind of expand. And part of my mind knows, oh, I'm seeing it, let it happen, and then I'll be like flying over something and seeing something, and once I start thinking about it too much, I lose it. So it's real delicate balance.
I see. And that's a method that Glenn has passed on to you.
Yeah. That's the difference between ours and theirs is we begin in an alert state. And in the alert state with a pen, you're working really fast. You're working this probe, right, 1 second, 1.5 seconds. And then you get a little bit tired, and you get a little bit like daydreamy, like you're reading a book and you're not aware of turning the pages. And then you get like a few more seconds. And then we go to something called ERV, which is we do a breathing exercise and a visual exercise, and we actually put ourselves almost to sleep. And then you want to have that experiential.
Interesting.
That's the ideal. But sometimes I do and sometimes I don't.
Out of all the remote viewing sessions that you've had for the past 26 years, could you share just one remote viewing session that was very interesting for you or for our audience as well?
Yeah. For me, there have been so many.
Right.
that the last one I did is always like, wow, I did it. You know, it's always, I sit down with a target idea and go, God, can I, even all the years I've done it, can I do this again? And when I successfully do it, I go, wow, I did it, I saw that. The first time I ever remote viewed like a movie where I saw the guy walking through the room, I got chicken skin. That's what we call it in Hawaii, chicken skin. In Korea, what is like goosebumps or
닭살 돋는다.
yeah.
Yeah, this is the same.
It's like the hair. And I was like, wow, wow, wow. I called my teacher, said, I saw it. I've had a couple where they were so vivid for like 5 seconds that I'll give you 3 quick stories. I could talk all day.
Right.
I was doing a target when I was a newscaster, and I didn't. You're blind to the target, so I'm working this target. I'm kicked back like this, and all of a sudden, I was out in the ocean with blue water, like deep ocean, sunny day, and an airplane went wow and crashed into the ocean right in front of me, and it was like it was as real as
seeing your eyes.
Full color, I was there. This airplane crashes in the ocean right in front of me, and I jumped out of the chair. I was like, oh, God, what the hell was that? And I wow, that was intense. And I go, is that the target? So I drew it, and I run, and the plane crashed into the ocean, and it was sinking. Right. And so I can't remember if it was the next day, but I found out that the target was a future target, like what's the next Coast Guard rescue in Hawaii? The next time the Coast Guard's going to go try to have a big news event where they go a ship sinking. They thought it would be a ship sinking. So
right.
Coast Guard rescue. And I go, well, that's interesting. So I'm on TV. I'm on live TV. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Dick Allgire.
This is back in the days when you were the anchor.
Yeah, I'm the anchor.
Right.
And somebody brought me off camera a script. Said, this just in, breaking news. Okay. The U.S. Coast Guard announces that they're sending assets to 10 miles off the northeast coast of Oahu. A small plane has crashed into the ocean. And I'm thinking, I saw that 2 days ago.
You've had the premonition of that event.
And I'm on TV live, and I'm going, let me swear, I'm going, holy shit, I saw that. But I have to keep my cool because I'm on live TV, and I'm thinking, I got to go look at my session. I got to look at my session. Right. My mind is spinning. So that was a good one. One you would be interested in was I was doing a prediction, I think 2 months ago. What is September? It is like July. I was doing monthly events, and I all of a sudden was in a neighborhood with houses. There was a UFO, and it was red and blue and white, pulsing
like flickering
lights. A flickering disc over this house. I saw that really clear. There's going to be a UFO sighting. There's going to be a spectacular UFO sighting, and I drew that, and I turned it in. We published it, and 3 weeks later, what I saw was all over the internet, this fabulous UFO sighting, and I think it was Colorado.
Interesting.
Yeah, so any time, it doesn't have to be an earth-shaking target. It can be just a validation target, just something as any simple little thing. But if you successfully, under double-blind circumstances, close your eyes and see it, that's so interesting, so amazing. It amazes me every time.